Welcome to this Quick Take Rapid Learning module. Today's topic, Getting Buy-In, how buyers take ownership of your sales proposals. When prospects buy into your sales proposals, when they start using language like mine and ours instead of you and yours, you know you're well on your way to winning the sale. But how do you get buyers there? What makes them take psychological ownership of the solutions you recommend? In this Quick Take, you will learn the power of psychological ownership and its effect on perceived value and loyalty, the critical element that creates a sense of ownership, and how to incorporate that element into your sales process. It's no secret that we put a higher value on the things we own. Think of your favorite coffee mug, the chair you always sit in at the dinner table, or the brand of car you drive. They're not all that different or better than other mugs, chairs, or cars. We simply like them more because they're ours. Psychologists call this phenomenon the endowment effect, and it's been demonstrated in experiments many times. One of the most famous of those experiments actually did involve coffee mugs. Experimenters gave mugs to a group of people selected at random, then asked how much money they'd accept to part with their mug. The average price? $5.78. Then the researchers asked another group of people, who hadn't been given mugs, how much they'd be willing to pay to get one. This time, the average price was far lower, just $2.21. Consider what that experiment means. The simple fact of ownership more than doubled the perceived value of the mugs. And that was for a generic low-value item that people hadn't asked for, hadn't selected, hadn't paid for, and had only owned for a short time. The implications for sales are clear. Once your buyers take psychological ownership of your proposal, they value it much more highly and are more committed to it. But the question remains, how can you create that sense of ownership? You can use some well-established sales techniques to signal ownership when you present your recommendations. For example, referring to the product as yours or offering trial periods or pilot programs to get buyers using it. But there's a deeper way to tap into the buyer's sense of ownership. Let's start by considering what it really means to own something. From a legal standpoint, ownership is fairly cut and dried, a matter of rights and obligations. But psychological ownership is an emotion. We feel that something belongs to us, and it's closely related to feelings of power and control. When we own something, it means we get to make decisions about how it's used and what it's used for. It turns out that those feelings run in the other direction too. When we exert control over something, psychological ownership increases. So, giving buyers the opportunity to exert control over proposals is the critical element for getting their buy-in. To see how control influences psychological ownership, let's look at another series of experiments involving online sites that allowed people to build their own products. Though these experiments involved web purchases, the results are relevant to nearly any type of sale. Not surprisingly, when people were invited to design a t-shirt, scarf, or cell phone case, they were willing to pay more for it than for a similar off-the-shelf product. But what's interesting about these experiments is that people weren't really designing their products. They were simply making choices. With the t-shirts, for example, people had only a limited set of options to select from and could make only minor modifications to the designs. Even so, they were willing to pay 44% more than for an off-the-shelf product because they designed it themselves. You can take a similar approach to building proposals. Here's how. Whether you're selling ball bearings, software, professional services, or anything else, nearly every sales proposal involves a series of decision points. Invite the buyer to participate in some of those decisions. Note the word some. Decades of research has shown that too much choice is counterproductive. Buyers become overwhelmed and often end up choosing nothing at all. Instead, do what the researchers did in the t-shirt experiment. Offer a few choices within the context of your overall proposal. Their buyers couldn't design tuxedos or hats. They couldn't draw their own designs. They really only had a few decisions. Which design to select, where it would be placed on the shirt, and so on. But those limited choices were enough to create perceived ownership. Look for similar opportunities in your own proposal process. For a professional services company, you might scope a project in 3 different ways and let prospects choose. For manufactured goods, you might invite buyers to choose from among several options for delivery, training, or service. According to the research, it doesn't much matter whether these decisions are large or small. What's important is that when prospects make choices, they begin to see your proposal as their own. Let's review what we've learned in this quick take. Psychological ownership increases perceived value and loyalty. Ultimately, ownership is an emotion closely related to feelings of power and control. To increase psychological ownership, offer buyers choices and let them build their own solution with your guidance and help. Thanks for watching. Now return to the program page and take the quiz. Also, please take 15 seconds to click on the survey link and fill out an evaluation of this program.